the Donovan Sadiq Show. It is Sunday night, and I am, again, like I promised you guys, I am going to have RCC candidate Darrell Terrell in the building, and we're going to be talking a little bit about, subject for today is get to know Darrell Terrell. So we're going to be talking about getting to know Darrell Terrell tonight. I'm Donovan Sadiq. I'm going to be your host. Welcome to the show. For those of you guys that didn't know, that beat was by Raphael Saadiq and a guy named Adrian Marcel. Really, really good artist out there. Go ahead and hit the song if you want to hit that. Do me a favor. Hit this on all of your likes, shares, and platforms. And that way we could get this message out because we're going to be chopping up with Darrell. He's running for the RCC Board of Trustees. It's RCC Board of Trustees, so look it up if you haven't seen it. A lot of stuff going on in the news. Again, like last week, a lot of people called and texted me and said that was kind of messed up that you put a got you on him. But see, we want a candidate that's going to be honest and straightforward with us. And that's somebody like us. So whenever I look for a candidate, I always look for a candidate and I say, could that guy be me up there? Could that lady be me? Somebody who's real, who just tells it like it is and gets the job done with no excuses. And I see a lot of that in Mr. Darrell Terrell. So, Darrell, Sunday night, welcome to the show. Welcome back.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. We got some great positive feedback on your last output.
Oh, that's great.
Haven't heard too much from your opponent, Carrie Thin, yet, but I hope she's not doing a Herschel Walker type campaign and feels that she doesn't have to debate or come out and talk because it's going to be a cakewalk. Not to disparage Miss Thin, but the bottom line is, we thought, or some of her people thought it was a cakewalk for her in District 3 against Ed Delgado, and it was a total wipeout. So we can't assume anything. We can't do anything. So, so how's your week been?
It's been good. I mean, been working, doing campaign work, studying the issues, dialing for dollars. That's what you do. When you work full time, and you got a campaign at the same time. You're on break. You make phone calls and to get people to contribute to your campaign. So it's a non-stop thing. Even though you work full time, 40 hours a week, you got to play both. You got to do both. Yeah, it's a constant grind, huh? Well, yeah. I mean, you can remember when I had two jobs.
Yeah,
you remember I worked
you were
at
Target. Yeah, you were at Target.
Then I tried. Then going to council meeting. It was a tough job, but that's the thing that people do these days. To survive, have two jobs.
Right.
To make ends meet.
Well, I remember most of my career in the military, I had a part-time job. I always worked either for the airlines or wherever I could make it. Because at a young age, I had a house note here that we're in right now. I mean, I had to go ahead and pay for this and do what I had to do with that. And I'm a young airman at the time doing what I have to do.
Yes, sir.
But let's just get everybody ready and prepped, okay?
Okay.
I don't want people to think that I'm just, throwing you softballs so you can just do your thing, whatever. But last week, President Joe Biden did some student debt relief, and we're going to get to that a little bit later, but I want to just preface that for the audience later on, because right now we're going to get to know Darrell Terrell. So tell us your story, man. Tell us what's going on for the people that might not know Mr. Darrell Terrell.
Well, for a lot of you guys out here, I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. I went to Lakeside High School, and I wasn't a good student. I can admit that. I wasn't a good student for a variety of reasons. So when you think about it, when I look at it, do I fault myself? Well, I got bullied. That's part of my story. I got bullied, but I didn't let the bully, stop me from learning. But I also am dyslexic. I only found out I was dyslexic when I came out here to California in 1988. So I came out here to go to school because it's affordable. At
California? Affordable schooling compared to everywhere else?
Well, RCC, because I had a chance to go to Clark Atlanta, but I had to take them loans out.
Right.
But
they didn't try to recruit you for football or anything like that?
Nah.
Okay. Good.
I came out here. My aunt and uncle said they were retired military people from March. So he said, my aunt said, "Hey, come on out here. You gonna go to school,
Get yourself
or you
together.
gonna get you a job.
Job.
We got a car. Ain't gonna be watching no TV. You gonna do one or the other. You know.
Old school.
Yeah. So when I get out here, like I said, I wasn't a good student.
Mm-hmm.
So it was eye opening to go to RCC because I didn't know. Back in the day, RCC had those catalogs, paper, not the computer things, but Tiger Talk and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, I wouldn't know. I sat on the quad a lot of times. That's why I ended up saying this ain't for me right now. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So my thing was when I first get on the campus, my cousin went to RCC. Now he works for Cal. He got his doctorates at in New York and stuff. So, but seeing him, he was trying to get me in the right place because I was a rebel. I was always a rebel at RCC. Mm-hmm. But to go back to the story, so when I get here. And I had to take those entry tests.
The tests to see where you're at, the assessments.
So I'm thinking, first thing, to go back and say, RCC, what is RCC? And she said, Riverside Community College. I said, like a JUCO, like a junior college. Mm-hmm. When you hear that, you think you're a failure. But I found out later that was the best thing that ever happened to me. So I go take the test. And my God, I had to start all over again. And
welcome to my world.
Well, yeah,
for math, I had to start from scratch.
English, because the thing is, I'm gonna be honest. According to what my aunt said, and according to what the test says, I couldn't hardly read or write. Now, what I mean by read or write is comprehension. You can read it,
but you don't understand what you read.
Yeah,
you don't understand what you read.
And as far as writing, as far as grammar, my grammar was bad. Mm-hmm. You have to ask yourself, was I a failure? No, I wasn't a failure. I just like everybody else. The school I came from didn't teach me right.
Now, was it that specific school, or was that the American education system in general? Because it seems to a lot of people, especially since the pandemic has hit, that you've got teachers that don't even know how to teach. And we can see why a lot of these kids are just being, they're getting participation trophies just being passed through the system.
Yeah, well, because I'm saying the same thing. Maybe it was best that I was held back so I could learn, be prepared to go out there. But it just told me that it's like I went to school for nothing. Not for nothing, but I mean, I was prepared.
Space.
Yeah. I wasn't ready to go to the big leagues, and going to big leagues was to a university. Mm-hmm. I think the university was, when I didn't get accepted to a university, I think it kind of brought me down. It made me a little depressed.
Okay. Let me ask you this, and I'm speaking for the average everyday person. Mm-hmm. You're in academia. You're a graduate. You're running for the board. Mm-hmm. What is the difference between a JC and a four-year university? They're both teaching higher education. So what's the difference?
I think the difference is it gets you, the JC gets you prepared to go to the university, because the university, I found out later, was tough.
Right. But when you're at the university, so let's say the junior college got me prepared.
Okay.
What grade level will I be when I transfer to the university?
When you transfer, you'll be a junior.
Right. So what would be the difference?
Well, the difference is you have more. I'll tell you the difference.
Okay.
More specialized attention from the professors. Because every professor I knew at RCC, I knew him by a name. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't a social security number. I was a person.
Right. Yeah, you're not somebody just seat 4D.
Yeah, I could go into there. Because see, when you go to a university, you become a social security number. You become...
You're more knowledge with the student aid than you are the professor itself.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes, because most of the time you're going to the university, you're trying to find out where the classes are. Can I add the classes? Mm-hmm. It's more clockwork. Going to a community college is more like being... It's like a working person's college. Because either you're working and you're going to school, or you're a parent and you're going to school at the same time. Because I met a lot of parents who were going to community college. Mm-hmm. And so what it does, you have more individual attention from the teacher. So it'd be easy for me to go in to see Dr. Morrison in biology and ask him what a ribosome is, because he talked like, a ribosome, it's like your car, that's how he talked.
Right.
But it was in layman's term where I could understand it. If I didn't understand something, I could go back. I didn't have to go to a TA. Mm-hmm. I could go talk to the teacher and say, hey, Professor Morrison, can you explain that to me again? And he wouldn't get tired that I knew of to trying to explain to me, like economics with Professor Young. All these people were like normal human beings that cared about you. You was a person. You were flesh and blood. You wasn't a Social Security number, and you didn't have a TA. They taught the class.
Right.
So, I mean, just to explain, from that point of view, it was more. It prepared you. It's like prepare you how to study, the proper way of studying, how to take notes. It taught you a lot of things that they don't teach you in high school. So for me to start over, it was the best thing that ever happened to me because I began to, like I said, make straight A's. I got on the dean's list the first time in my life. I remember when I got that little paper from in the mail, and I made the dean's list. I got on the phone and said, "Mom," called my mama who was alive she was alive. Told her I made the dean's list. She was so happy with me and my auntie and stuff. But when you come from a background where you didn't do so good, and you learn, you energize, you start building confidence in your professors, and you're doing good. You learn the study habits. You're learning how to do conjugation. You know what that means. You know what you're reading, and you're in the zone like Michael Jordan, shooting 3-pointers all day. That's how I was. I went to school. School to me at college, at community college, was the funnest place I ever been. I didn't even want to leave.
Right. So you actually you gained a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
Going there versus like when you're in high school, you're kind of not sure what you're going to do.
Yeah.
The real world's waiting for you.
Yeah.
But then you're in junior college, and you just your self-image is more enhanced because now you're more confident in yourself and your ability to do what it is. And a lot of the teachers there reinforce a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, because see the thing also too about going there too is like that's when I began to find who I was, who Daryl Terrell was, and I started getting involved in the political things on campus, like when fees were going up or the library hours was getting cut. I got more involved in my school when books were too high. When the books almost cost more than the class. I mean, that kind of formulate who I am. And I think about that. I mean, because I was in high school, I was skinflint, shy. That was me. But it gave me a lot of hope, inspired me. Because like I said, when you start opening your mind to what they're saying, you understand what they're saying, you can write term papers, and you're becoming successful. That opens so much doors for you. And I thought back in the day, college was some foreign place somewhere for me.
Right, and it's like a serious place.
Yeah, now you think about it, when I went to, like I said, RCC, it was real. I could go to it for a year if I wanted to. At that time, I didn't know if I wanted to go to it for a year.
So basically the junior college, the JCO, basically prepared you to get and to be successful. And you know what? Thinking about it now, right off the cuff, I know some people that go straight to the 4-year, and then you know how it is when you go to junior college, when you're at RCC. My story, I sat on the quad, and it wasn't for me at that time. Major universities are expensive. So just think of the people that think, okay, well, I'm coming out of high school, I'm going to go straight to the university, and then they find out, like I did, this is not for me at this time. But I did find out that people that transferred over were more prepared.
Yeah, there you go.
And they were more confident to complete it because they've just graduated from, the junior college, and so they know coming into the university they're going to be, they're on a mission to finish what they're going to do.
Oh yeah, what you just said described how I felt because I was prepared than ever. I was ready to take on the university to conquer it.
You got your what do you call those classes? Your core classes done, your general studies done.
Yes.
So when you went to the university, you could concentrate on your core.
Yeah, because the thing was, I got my AA. Then my Amanda, let me see, she was my counselor. Say, hey, you want an AS? I said, sure. I said, what science class I need to take? And I got both. I got 2 degrees out of RTC.
Yeah, me too.
And you were so proud of yourself because, I think she said Amanda Hicks, she was my guidance counselor. And thank God for guidance counselors because, man, I used to go bugged her to death, but she got
that was me too.
Yeah,
they wanted me out of there. They were like, just give them something.
Yeah,
get them out of here.
And just like you were saying, when you take all those classes, you know how you were saying for the military, and I figure all the classes I ever took, then transferred. I wish I had that better that guidance path, but now I understand.
Right. And and it's unfortunate because we've learned from that experience, but I'm not into the school system, and a lot of the people who are on the trustee board, they're on a different agenda, and so they're not thinking as a student, and maybe they've forgotten that some kids don't know that transfer doesn't work, and it wastes their time.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Because for me, again, everybody, time is money for me. So when I went to school, because I was in the military, my time was money, and I was serious about it because I had to be to work, number one, being in the military.
Yes.
So, I really feel a lot of people that are on these school trustee boards, they're so out of touch with the common student.
Well, I would say so because if you haven't been a student where, like I said, RCC was a perfect example, and you had no idea that. For me, I thought when I found out that I would have to get out in 3 years, I didn't finish in 2 years. I had to finish in 3 years. It wasn't because I wasn't getting my lesson, because there was not enough classes available. Transferable classes to transfer to what school I wanted to go to. So to me, that was frustrating in itself because you're like, man, I did all that for nothing, and I got to go another year?
Yeah, and that's when we were talking about last week. A lot of military people feel that because it's like, hey, we did all this stuff, and our military transcript, you might have 80 credits.
Yeah.
On a SMART transfer. For those guys that don't know, the Navy, the Marine Corps, and the Navy, the Marine Corps, and the Army have a thing called the SMART transcript. The Air Force has a CCAF transcript, which is different than theirs because the Air Force is accredited, which is a little bit different. But the point is, you got a lot of people. There are more people in the Army, Navy, and the Marine Corps than there's in the Air Force combined. So all these Army guys, infantry guys, whatever they are, Marines and stuff like that, they're coming out of service, and then they go to the university or the junior college, and they find out their stuff doesn't transfer. So, and it's very disappointing, when they do that, because they spent 4 years serving their country, thinking, hey, this is worth something, only to find out in a lot of cases your PE or your boot camp is the only thing that's worth something.
Well, that's why we have to change things as a trustee, is to make sure that with your service to the country transfer into credit for whatever electives or whatever, but it should count for something.
Yeah,
it should count for something.
So getting them to know Darrell Terrell, tell us something in general that people would know about you, that have heard about you for the first time. Because remember, people know you here in Moreno Valley because you are the de facto, what I call you, Mr. Mayor, because you're always putting out a message of positivity and the future. The future. And you've been consistent. And that's one thing a lot of people, even myself, I got to say, I'm not consistent as I should be on my message. But the one person I can say that has been consistent, besides you and Roy Blecker's dad, is you. So, tell us something that's kind of, like I said, because Riverside Trustee.
Yes.
It's here in Moreno Valley, but when you go to the boards, you're going to be going down to the other schools and meeting other people, and you guys have your little meetings. Tell us something that maybe people that have just moved here don't really know about Darrell Terrell.
Well, for one thing, as you said, Donovan, I've been in the community for 34 years.
Yeah,
34 years. And one thing this is I was telling Donovan the story when I was at Lowe's, and this customer came up. It was a lady and man told me, said, "Hey, I don't see you no more on TV. You were raising hell of those people." Excuse my language, but that's how she described to me. But see, the thing is, for all those years that I participated, whether it was on the Traffic Safety Advisory Committee, whether it was on the Parks and Rec advisory for budget, because there was a budget deficit, all that was cause of passion because I care about my community, and that led to a lot of things that people don't know about, like Hire More Val was something I fought for a long period of time, that the mayor championed, and you can see it right now. Or you can see the Employment Resource Center that I fought hard for.
Sure did.
And you see the community workforce agreement that's going to put a lot of people to work. And see, a lot of things people have to understand, the people that don't know me, I get things done. I point out a problem and I present a solution. And I'm persistent about that because I care about the issue, because it means something when you see a sketches being built and nobody from Moreno Valley on there. So I got it on my JLB.
Yeah, you sure did.
Tried to find a solution, and it took years, but we have Hire More Val as a result of it. And also too, and like I said, whether it was trying to help balance the budget, my ideas inspired to balance the budget. It's in some cases it saved the city. I want to say $5-6 million. Some of the ideas that I put forth to help balance the budget, and there's countless of other things that I've done. But I did it because of my passion to make the quality of life in the city better. I went to every council meeting I could go to.
Absolutely.
And other things that people you may not know about me. I've been to the city of Palm Springs, tried to help out the residents down in northern Palm Springs. I've helped them with trying to put together affordable housing, density bonus. Helped them with them when they had same thing we had in our city when we had a moratorium on rent. I helped them. Some of my language is in their ordinances. Sorry, I'm the thing. But there's even local hire down there. But also, people, you should know about me. I fight for anybody. And I'm not Larry H. Parker, nobody like that. I had to put that out there. No, I'm not him.
Right.
But here's the thing. When you had a father in the union who was UAW, I could tell you stories where I went to, like a year ago, that there was Teamsters 396 Republic Services down in Anaheim that went on strike. I got off of work and I joined the picking line. I used to get off work and I got off of work every single day to join the picking line to find out and to be in solidarity with folks. Whether it was nurses, grocery store workers, or truck drivers in Long Beach. I walked the picking line with the Teamsters at Long Beach. They were picking.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of things. Because the thing you want to know about me, I'm going to fight for an issue. I'm going to fight for people. I'm going to fight for our community to ensure that we get a fair share of resources. So that's something that some people didn't know about me.
Okay, well, man, like I said, you've been doing it too, and then I also noticed that whenever you go to these meetings, you're always immaculately dressed, professional. Going there knowing that you're going to be serious about what you're talking about, and you want to be taken seriously. And so, for a lot of young people that are listening to us right now, these are like little things that you do so people can take you seriously. They can't take you seriously when your pants are sagging off your butt. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, because I know that, I like to be comfortable and I don't really care. So I know when I go to city council, it's very rare that I dress up in a serious manner because I'm there just to vent and holler and scream. So that's just, everybody knows that's what I do over there. But let's pivot real quick to, because a lot of people want to hear your answer to this. And it's very important.
Okay.
And I'm very sure your opponent's probably not going to address it. And if she does, it's going to be the generic, the political answer to be safe and all that other good stuff. Because, again, and this is me, not Daryl Terrell saying this, I was under the impression she was done running for everything. I remember her husband saying that she was done. But, hey, if she wants to change her mind, that's absolutely her right. And but it's kind of hypocritical when you make a statement that you're not going to run and then you turn around and run anyway. President Joe Biden, recently put out a policy by executive order. He didn't use Congress, you guys. He did it because, remember, for the last 2 years, he's been saying, nothing I can do. That's a Congress thing. They got to vote on it. It's not a presidential thing. All of a sudden, with the magic wand, he has waived $10,000 in student debt. What is your take on that as somebody who is running for RCC school trustee? Because there's a lot of people that go to college that take out, and thank God, loans or are getting ready to go to the university and stuff like that. So tell us a little bit about how that would affect a student from a student's perspective.
Well,
and your opinion.
In my opinion, it's how does it affect at every level or just
well, just what's your answer to it in regards?
I think, put it this way, it should have been more. 10,000, or if you have a 20,000 up to a Pell Grant, I think it should have been more. It should have been 50,000. And from a perspective, when you go to school, it's an investment. Thinking a lot of kids like myself who went to college to UCR, I had to get student loans too. So I'm paying. I was responsible, but the facts remain is you thought you were going to get a job that, the investment, you're going to pay it back because you have a job that's going to have a much better return. But unfortunately, it didn't. And so what it does, it put a burden on a lot of people, a lot of kids and parents, all above. But to take that burden off and to have them have that burden lift so they can invest more money into the economy, and they could do other things to boost the economy. But when you look at also too, you gotta look at the servicemen and women. You gotta look at the people who serve this country, like public service, like military, or folks like that who volunteer. You know, they should
AmeriServe and these people that volunteer to help pay off their student loans.
Should, like AmeriCorps, for instance.
Yeah, AmeriCorps.
Should have theirs be the first to be wiped out, get rid of. Mm-hmm. Because they put their time, blood, sweat, and tears for their country or for their community. Mm-hmm. That should have been wiped out. But the most important thing, it takes the burden off the person who graduates. It's a less burden for them, so they could get a job, a livable wage job, and be able to do things for their family. Right. And but also too, you know, when we talk about universities, mm-hmm. we have to do more to have more grants. Where instead of more loans, there should be more grants that's out there for people.
Can I do a follow up here? Let me just follow this up with you. Okay, he gave away $10,000 by the executive order, wiped out. Why not just wipe the whole thing out? We spent 20 years in Afghanistan fighting a war that cost over $20 trillion that we just walked away from. $20 trillion could have paid for everybody's schooling for free, plus universal health care for everybody in the United States, legal or illegal. So why not just wipe it out and just say, you know what, you guys really, we're going to wipe this out. We don't want to hear about it ever again. You know what I mean?
Well, I would agree with you. I agree with you that because it's about priorities and why we invest. Because I'm all about, you know, strong military mm-hmm. force and things like that. But at the same time, we spend money and we left there in Afghanistan.
Just out the window. $20 trillion.
And why we could have done more investing in
American people.
Human beings.
Right.
Human beings that's in this country that's going to school, who need health care. We should have had more to invest in the human being, the human.
Right. $20 trillion could have gone to for those people that are taking vocational programs to help rebuild the infrastructure in this country.
Yeah, it's just priorities. It seems so whacked at the federal level because a lot of times it's like we have a knee-jerk reaction to everything.
Sure.
And so when we throw money out there, we give money to these people, we give money mm-hmm. to these people. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we don't do enough investing in people's education here at home or their health care. So, I mean, that's how I look at it.
Right. You know, because I'm looking at the point that what could some of that $20 trillion trickle down at the, because it goes from the federal government to the states, to the mm-hmm. counties, to the such, and it trickles down, right?
Yeah.
What kind of programs could we have done at the educational level at RCC, in your opinion, with some of that money? Let's say it would have equated to $500 million.
Well, we could have created more, using that money to, one, let's talk about the kids, the students, mm-hmm. grants, pay for all their books. I know they got some right now, but the thing is we could expand it more. We could expand more money into the buildings at Moreno Valley College that still are on those, what do you call them, the modulars?
Yeah, the modulars and stuff like that.
Get
rid
of those
things.
Right. Because you could have money just to take care of them when it costs attack. It will cost investment, but also apprenticeship programs, training programs, more money investing in students than that's what I would have done with it.
Right. And then for the student, wouldn't that be, if going to junior college and getting a trade is completely free, what excuse would I have not to be able to go get a job out there?
Yeah, and
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and see that's another thing too. We have all these certificated programs mm-hmm. and for everything, but some folks don't land jobs.
Right.
So what if they had a guaranteed program? So you get your money back if you don't get a livable wage job out of certain occupations that you go for. If you don't get a job, you know what? We'll refund your money.
Right. Whoa. That's a big thing. Yeah.
That's an idea that I think we should do because what it does, it gets people to say, you know what? After I do for the training or for the certificate and get my certificate, and I go out there and I can't land a job at livable way, and not flipping burgers at McDonald's and nothing like that, but what you train for, that you should be refunded that money if you don't get one in a certain amount of time. Some colleges do that.
Right.
Some
I don't know if everybody out there is aware. The biggest community college in the world is the Community College of the Air Force. Right. A lot of people don't know that. Now, what does the Community College of the Air Force do? And I know it's military, but just think about what that idea that you just said. Mm-hmm. If I incentivize people to come in here, to go into the arts, or not the arts, I'm sorry, the sciences, and the mathematics, which is what we're lacking, right? Because everything's going digital and, Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
The difference between the biggest community college of the world and regular colleges is the Air Force pays you while you go to school.
Yeah.
Okay? So they incentivize you to go there. So they're giving me a check. They're giving me housing. I'm not saying that regular colleges could do that, but with that money that we threw away in Afghanistan, what we could have done was say, hey, we got these warehouses here. We're gonna give you a stipend to complete this program for us.
Yeah.
That would incentivize me to go to school every day if I know I'm going to school like a job.
Well, yeah, that's part of the program that I want when I become a trustee, is to create a hybrid training apprenticeship program. You spend 4 hours in the classroom and 4 hours on the floor. And in Moreno Valley, we have different sectors. We have a manufacturing sector. Mm-hmm. We have distribution. We have auto. We have medical. And all those businesses that exist in this community that have pathways, that have livable wages, but no pathways. And like you were saying, how would that feel if I got a chance? I'm going to this program. We work with the people to create the curriculum, they teach the class, and you go to that program, and you get a certificate, and you earn money as you go to the class. You earn and learn. That's and that's something different that I would say what I bring to the table as a trustee. As being more pragmatic in situations like that. Changing the way we're doing things, because what we are doing is not working.
It worked 60 years ago.
And
that's 60 years ago.
And the most thing you hear in our own city, people clamoring, I want a livable wage job. I'm tired of going 34 miles on the highway.
Right.
But as a trustee, I could do something about it. Mm-hmm. I have other people that I can work with. The city and my 4 other fellow trustees work together to make sure we build a career path for people for livable wage jobs with the business in the community. And think about this. The industries we don't have, we can attract those industries to our community. People are, see, that's my thing I've been fighting for so many years. I went to the city council my plan was the Raising the Bar Initiative.
Yeah, I remember that.
I went to WR College, some of you, that's acronym for the cities, they get together. I went to the Workforce Investment Board to present my plan. But the plan that the thing you're talking about, that's something I advocated for so many years before city council, the county, and San Bernardino too. Because I feel passionate that people want to have a livable wage job in their own community, but there's no career paths to get to them.
Right.
So me as a trustee is going to help build that career path to those livable wage jobs, so you can be closer to your home and involved. I'm sorry I got off.
No. That's an excellent answer.
That's the plan that I will pursue as a trustee.
See, and we don't hear that because what's happening is a lot of these jobs are these classes are just stuffed down our throats, and I'm not downing the system, but there are a lot of classes that are really obsolete that are still in the curriculum of the schedules. Nobody's listening to the students. Okay, Moreno Valley is, I believe, 60% Hispanic.
Yeah.
That's the majority of people here. Are we really looking at these books and looking at jobs that the Hispanic community want in regards to the Moreno Valley curriculum?
Well, see, that's the thing. You bring up a good point, because if you look around in our community, I don't know how many of you guys, you drive out of here, you see warehouses, but you see manufacturing, you see other types of industry. See, the classes should reflect what's out there in the community.
Yes, right.
And like Donovan said, we should to take all the classes, ask the students. Let's do catalog all these classes and see what we really need here. Because I think if we're supposed to be an independent college, right? So the classes should reflect what's in that community.
Correct.
And why we go to Norco for logistics? Why we got to go to, and you got kids, high school kids who may not have transportation, go all the way to Norco.
Right.
How many of you guys been on 91 freeway?
Mm-hmm.
The 71?
Yeah, exactly.
Would you like to do that? No, you want to do it in your own backyard. And again, let's look at these other industries. Mm-hmm. Automotive. Why you got to go to RCC? No wrong with RCC. Right. I'm a graduate. Mm-hmm. But we got Moss Brothers in our own backyard that can teach you how to do automotive, like hybrids and things like that. Right,
exactly. You got the Teslas out there. We can add that onto it. That's something that these young kids are into.
And you got Karma. Mm-hmm. You got that.
Right.
Manufacturing. So what I'm saying, I'm passionate about this because that's about getting our fair share of resources. You got to stand up and fight for the community. You got to fight for the people who get on that road every morning and for a livable wage job that's not in that community. We got to do better than that.
Right. We got to listen to the students because here's something that's very, very simple. In a lot of communities, used to have seamstresses and stuff. That was a very hard job to do. It's very hard to make clothes. But there are people and I'm not trying to stereotype it, in the black community. Yeah. My mom she could sew anything with the pattern and stuff like that. That's an art that's being lost. In the Hispanic community, pretty much the same thing. The seamstresses, if you talk to the younger kids, they don't know how to do the basic things that could, because a lot of kids are in the fashion. I hear these young girls, black, Asian, Hispanic, talking about, I want to go they're going all the way to LA to the Fashion Institute. Yeah. When we could have had it right here.
Yeah.
Do you sense that we got to listen to the students of what they want in regards to their future? We can't sit there as older people and say, back in my day, we used to, work with the old Etzel. The Etzel doesn't exist anymore, but yet it's still on the books in the catalog.
Exactly, because like you were saying before, we need a better job of having courses that reflect with today's times and the future. And that goes for high schoolers, that ties into Moreno Valley College. The same thing, because not everybody wants to go to college. Right. But here's the thing, but you shouldn't have to live in poverty the rest of your life
either. That sounds good.
And that's the thing about economic mobility. Mm-hmm. That's economics all about. Like you said, being a seamstress. You could start your own career. You could start your own small business.
Do you know how much money you could make if you know how to alter clothes? People gain weight, they lose weight, people get married. Yeah. Here in this community, 60% of the community is of Hispanic background. Do you know how many quinceañeras that go on in this town?
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's crazy.
But that's the thing. But you're saying if you don't have access to the courses or career path to it, you'll never have that chance to start a business. Like you were saying before, I think we had podcasts in the past. Entrepreneurship. Yeah. Community colleges courses, when you take those courses, entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. You create your own business, but they show you how to do it. Mm-hmm. And you could do it free of charge. You also could do it at low cost. Instead of going to a trade school where you would be in the debt the rest of your life.
Right. Taking on all that debt.
Community college is the best place to go to earn the skills to create the economic mobility, the career path you want for that livable wage job or to better your family.
Yeah, I don't want to make the younger people mad or upset, but when I went to RCC for the first time, tuition was $7 a unit.
Yeah, that was me.
$7. When it went up to 11, everybody lost their minds.
Yeah.
They thought that was outrageous.
That's why I could keep going to school year round because it was so cheap.
Right, exactly. But now I think it's $50 or $60 a unit. Mm-hmm. So class would talk about almost $200 a class.
And plus you got that 2-year thing, but you still got to think. See, when you were talking about the money, I was sitting here thinking about something. Mm-hmm. Housing. We could have done something with housing at Moreno Valley College because there's no student housing. Yeah, people that I talk to on that campus that are homeless. They live in their cars.
Right.
But why not have a tiny village, a tiny housing village? There's people in there too who build tiny homes for a living.
Right on March Air Force Base, they have the homeless retiree vet center, and it's a small little village.
Yeah, and that's what we could do in Moreno Valley College to help people so they want to live in their car. Because one of the things people drop out of school for because they think of the finances, they think about food insecurity and housing insecurity.
Right.
So my thing is to work with the private sector, get some grants, and build a village on Moreno Valley College campus so folks can, if they're homeless, they have a place to sleep, have a place they could call home temporary until we get to get back on their feet.
Sure. Well, let me ask you this real quick.
Okay.
Have you noticed that Cal Baptist down in their area, they bought up all of that property there. They bought up the housing, some of the apartment complex that was adjacent to their property. You know, like I said, with the homing thing, why isn't RCC doing that? I mean, we know there's a lot of money that has trickled down, and money and funding is there. Like I said, piggybacking on what you just said, that would be a great idea.
Well, why that's the case is priorities again, because I think not a lot of student input.
Right.
They're supposed to be shared governance where everybody have a say so when it comes to planning, strategic planning, finance, and things like that with students involved. But I talked to some of the students at Moreno Valley College, and they tell me, they approach the administration about, hey, what about the housing? Where is that going to be? But they don't get regular updates. Yeah. To me, it should have been a priority to create some kind of, but you still have a chance to do it. But it's going to take leadership and the students to say, hey, we'd like to see a housing village, tiny housing village.
Right. And that's a form of, a lot of kids want to just leave home, and kind of.
And you got the foster kids who get thrown into the system and they have no place to go. They don't have that support system. If they want to go to a Moreno Valley College or a RCC or they want to go to Norco, they don't have, if some of them are homeless, so where do they go? They live in their cars or with their couch surfing to other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
real quick,
okay.
You got a lot of people that are in opposition of the student loans being paid off and stuff like that. A lot of people say that if you take out a loan, you should pay it. But yet we have senators and people in government that got PPPL loans for millions of dollars, some hundreds of thousands of dollars, and forgiven, no questions asked. But yet a measly $10,000, I might have the average debt is $45,000 in student loans, and yet nobody wants those forgiven. That's what I'm saying. Joe Biden not forgiving the student loans is kind of ridiculous. But how do you feel about these people who are making millions of dollars, got all their loans forgiven, but yet we only get $10,000 for ourselves?
That's being a hypocrite because they got the benefits from it. And why other regular folks who ain't big shots should have they talk about this, but you find out a lot of them got them taken away, and that's being hypocritical. Because I pay, we were talking about student loans. I'm still paying on my student loan.
Sure.
And the thing is, I'm glad $10,000. Okay.
Yeah, it's something, but
but it should have been a lot more. Like Chuck Schumer said, it should have been a lot more. But I think it's unfair for people to say, well, they should not wipe it out. They should be responsible. Yeah, I'm responsible. But I'm working at Lowe's.
Right.
Thank God I have a job at Lowe's. I was working 2 jobs, still trying to pay my student loan.
Right. Whenever I hear people say that, it's like, were the people on Wall Street that crashed the economy, were they responsible?
Exactly.
And we still gave them money.
Yeah, there's a lot of things we gave people money for to save the economy. But what about the regular ordinary person who works 9 to 5, or someone in Moreno Valley has to get on the freeway and to maybe take another job so they can pay their student loan if they got a student loan.
Exactly. Like I said, livable wages. I mean, people are so busy paying debts that they don't have time to spend with their families.
Exactly.
And really enjoy life because we only got one life. Yeah. So once it's over, it's over.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. It's about fairness. It's not all about fairness. You making, like I said, I went through a 4-year school because I thought me getting a good job, I could pay it all back. Yeah, but finding out,
total lie.
It didn't turn out. That's why I say college is not for everybody. If you want to go to college as a trustee, I will ensure that you get your transferable classes so you could grab. If you want to go to a 4-year, you can, and that's what's something to do. But
it's an accomplishment. Mm-hmm.
But if you don't want to, I'm gonna make sure you have a career path to a livable wage job in this community, if that's what you choose, because you deserve that.
Right. Exactly.
And if you don't get the job, you take a certificate for certain classes, certain fields, get your money back.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Get your money back
because time is money.
Not working at McDonald's, but a job that you train for.
Right. Exactly. Because you got to remember during the pandemic, the only people that were making money were people that had vocational skills.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not saying all of us that had degrees, we were sent home.
Yeah.
We were sent home. I mean, but if you had a vocational skill,
Yeah.
you still got your hair done, you still got your nails done, there was still construction going on, there was still road construction, all kinds of stuff. So, again, we're going to pick this up in part 2, you guys. We're going to go ahead and pay some bills, and we will be right back with RCC candidate Daryl, Mr. Mayor Terrell. We'll be right back.